So now we're going to start working with Photoshop selections. And before we do, we want to make sure that all of our layers are locked because selections are very democratic. And if you're on a layer and you have a selection put on that layer, it will ruin that layer. And you might not want that. So that said, let's go to View, Screen Mode, Full Screen Mode with Menu Bar. And let's begin. Now, we're going to go over to these selection tools. We're going to work with the polygonal lasso, which is under the other lasso. And we want to make sure it's on 0 feather so that it won't have a blurred edge. And we'll start and we'll work big because we can change the size later. As we've mentioned in class, a very simple way to start making a tree is with a Y shape. It's more interesting, in fact, if we make the Y so that it's a little bit asymmetrical and it looks more natural that way. So here we go, and we're going to start with a Y shape that's narrower at the top, narrower at the end of the branch, and wider at the bottom. And as we come along to close the selection, we'll see the 0 that lets us know we're there so that when we click, we have the selection. If you like it, it's a good idea to go up to the top and go Select, save your selection, and name it Tree 1 and hit the return button so that in case you lose it, you can go back and load it in again. So here we are, we're going to add to it. Now to add to a selection, if you hold down the Shift key, you'll notice on the little selection icon, I just let it go, there's a Shift key. So, a plus sign. So I'm going back into the tree now. I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to start adding branches from the inside out. We can change them later, as I'm going to show you, but if you can get a generally good one to start, there's the 0, and you've begun. Now, if you go in with a navigator and you get in a little closer, it's easier to see it. So I'll hold the Shift key again, and I'll start out, and we'll add on some more branches, always thinking in terms of the Y shape, and that works pretty well. Get in a little bit closer with a navigator, and you can come inside again and add on little shapes. Now, if you don't like the shape, I'm going to show you how to change it right now. So by holding down the Shift key, we added shapes. If you go to the Option Alt key, notice you get a negative. So I'm going to get rid of this sharp point out here by starting. I'm going to hold the Option Alt key, and I'm going to start like this, outside, come around, and there we go. Now, it would be a good idea, again, to go and save this selection. So I'm going to go Select, save the selection. This time I'm going to call it Tree 2, say OK or hit the return button. And now you've saved this. So in case you go off of it like that and lose it, you can then go back up and go Select, load the selection, and go and find Tree 2, say OK, and then you'll have it. So that's a wonderful way to save selections. Photoshop knows how risky it can be to lose them, so it gives you this wonderful way of saving them. And it will save in your file when you close it at the end of the class. So let's add a few more things. I'm going to now change to the lasso tool, which you don't click, you can just drag, to show you how that works. So I'm going to hold the Shift key. Notice it works the same way, the little plus sign. I'll go inside the tree, hold the Shift key, and bring it out and start adding shapes of branches following along the same idea. Let's get in a little closer so that we can see it. And this thing will help you move it around. Let's come over here, hold the Shift key, come up like this, make it narrower at the top, close it, and now you've got the beginnings of a tree. So whatever tool works is the one you should use, either the regular lasso or the polygonal lasso. Both of those are very easy for this sort of thing. I'm going to continue working just a little bit more, and then we'll stop this part of the tutorial before we go on to the next one. Remember, you can always edit your work so that it looks more natural to you. For example, if you have this thing here, you can hold the Alt key and you can come down into this and drag around it to subtract it, just like that. And you can get rid of these things that don't look natural to you. So take a look over your whole tree. Does this look okay here? Maybe not. I'm going to hold the Alt key again and come in around this, come up to here, and we're in good shape. So now I'm going to go select, save the selection, and I'll call this one Tree 3 OK. And now I have, if I go select, load the selection, I have now all of these different stages in my tree so that I can go back and work from any one by loading that onto a new layer if I so please. So we're all set now. We're ready now to start working with color. So that'll be our next tutorial. Thank you.